Yo, this is part 2 of my lighting in games analysis. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch part 1. I talk about things in here that are explained in the first part that I don't explain in the second part, so go check it out. Here are the 4 main ways lights are used in games: point lighting, spot lighting, directional lighting, and ambient lighting. Let's talk a bit about them and how they interact with things. Let's check out a couple of examples in Resident Evil 2 Remake. The 2 that we're going to look at in this game are point lighting and spot lighting. Point lighting is exactly what you think it would be. It's light at a point that radiates outward. The most classic feeling point light that I can possibly think of is a light bulb. Seriously, it's extremely iconic. You'd pretty much see this inside a wall sconce or a ceiling light or a lamp, but depending on the shape, it could actually change the way and how the light radiates out, and it would depict a different pattern of lighting around the area. It's also great for candle lighting, as seen in Resident Evil Remake. Oh geez, that place was extremely creepy. I don't want to talk about it. Get it away! I don't want to be there anymore! Ceiling lights, which people see in most games, can also act as a guide for players, because lighting can direct the eyes to where it wants you to see. A perfect example would be a light on top of a door frame shining down on the door, saying, hey, go through me to continue the storyline. And it's like, oh, okay, I didn't think about that door, but since there's a light there, that must be where I need to go. This is a nice place. I do like the coloration. It's got just the right amount of drab. It's also very dusty, too. Oh, and as you can see, the volumetric lighting from those windows interacts with the dust in the air, and it creates a kind of haze that you see. These would technically be known as God rays as well. God rays are lights that peek out from objects. So this statue in the middle of the room has a thing known as motivated lighting. Motivated lighting is effectively a question being asked. Why is there light here? Why is there light being cast at this certain location? Well, the statue is required to progress. I need to put the medallions in this statue in order to open up a basement level to continue the game. It's also the brightest object in this room. It shows your goal for this section of the game. It's great storytelling. Spotlighting is pretty cool, as it deals with focused beams of light that interact with your environment. Flashlights are the most common type of spotlights. They allow you to illuminate subjects in different angles, whether it's people, items, or the walls of a building. An example in how older games handled spotlights would be to create translucent shapes. These would simulate things like sunlight coming in through a window, or for a cool effect for a set piece, and again to draw your eye to that area for like a puzzle. My tension is building. I am going to pop a blood vessel. I'm gonna freak out. Oh, I'm gonna freak out. Oh, just a zombie. Whatever. Bye. Oh, okay. I should probably leave. I'm gonna jump through here. Goodbye. Goodbye.
My back!
Welcome, Leon. Wow, they really like me. While I'm shining my flashlight at these decorations, you can see that the shadow mapping is adapting in real time to the angle of my light. And the shadows are changing their size with how close I'm getting. Graphics. Moving on to Monster Hunter Wilds, directional lighting is our next example. Look at this beautiful place. Directional lighting is a technique that uses a constant light source coming from one direction. The lighting is uniform, has deep shadows, and is perfect for outdoor scenes. It simulates the sun. It's perfect for a picnic. Directional lighting can't really be used indoors because it messes up the way how shadows work. You can't put a sun inside a building. Don't do that, you'd blind everybody. One of my favorite uses for directional lighting is for a cloudy day. You have both a lot of shadows and a lot of bright areas. and has another example of God rays where if clouds are in front of the sun, the light's rays will poke out through them. Even on a rainy day, you can imagine that the sun is still shining through the clouds, giving enough ambient light for the rest of the scene. Huh. Look at the shadows underneath my character and the monster. We've come a long way from just simple drop shadows. Do you remember when your character model just had a little circle for their shadow? I do. Now we have fully detailed shadows, just like in real life. Hiya! Nice. Got it. Take that, cuckoo, you idiot. So I'm in a crevice in a mountain, but the sun is rising still. So the direction of the directional lighting is changing slowly but surely. Eventually this mountain is going to be completely bathed in daylight. It's beautiful! I've also noticed in a lot of games that during cutscenes, the characters' faces now have key lights on them. I guess a lot of AAA developers now focus on cutscenes being like part of a movie. I kinda like it. It makes it more cinematic. And the transitions between gameplay and cutscenes is pretty seamless.
Yes, sir.
Let's move on to World of Warcraft and talk about ambient light. Welcome to Ironforge, home of the dwarves. I think that ambient lighting is the most unrealistic type of lighting there is, mostly because it's used in such a way that doesn't have lighting coming from any perceivable area. It's just light that exists in order to improve visibility. Lighting wasn't really a game mechanic, it was just adding to the atmosphere. So the developers pretty much just put lighting everywhere, even at nighttime, so people could always see where they're at. You see this building? There's no reason for it to be fully lit in a bright blue light. It makes no sense, but it looks really nice. It's beautiful even. You could say that this comes from an era of painted on lighting, or baked in lighting. There is a lighting engine, don't get me wrong. It does interact with your character and the other parts of the scenery in different ways, but the way in how the texturing was made back in the day of World of Warcraft, the highlights were painted on, which would make it look like it already has light put on it, but it doesn't. The highlights just interact with the light engine already in place and brightens it up further, making it seem like it is lit that much more from a light source. But in reality, it's just made that bright in a gradient that goes from the dark spots to the highlight back to the dark spots. You see this light? It's not really lighting that texture. Sure, there's probably some kind of ambient lighting in the room, but the texture is just that bright from when it was made. But you can see that there is light coming from the braziers. And they do light your character to a degree. Ow. Don't stand in the fire. Do not stand in the fire. And now we're in Astronar. If it wasn't made clear that this place is filled to the brim with ambient lighting, this place should really prove that. But yeah, look, I can see the sky, but there's no sun. It looks like it's cloudy and green. So, I barely scratched the surface on computer-generated lighting, but I just wanted to take a look at some of the techniques that are used in most games nowadays. Now, we've been using lighting engines for well over 20 years now, but I just wanted to take a look at it in my own way, through a designer mindset. You know, lighting theory and color theory. That's what I see things as. I don't really know what goes on in the calculations, so there you go. So yeah, you can probably use your real-world knowledge of how lighting works in real life and apply that in a design aspect for lighting in games. But yeah, you're gonna have to study how the calculations are done if you really want to figure that whole thing out. Or just not worry about it and slap everything together and hope it works. Yeah, this is ZeroEchoZenith signing off. Take care, everybody. I'll see you next time. And green.
It's not easy being green.
That was a terrible Kermit impression.
It's not easy being green. Hey. It's not easy being green. Yeah. It's not easy being green. I'm not really sure. That's actually not that bad of a Kermit. I'm now thinking about it. You kind of just put your head up like that. The roof of your mouth, and you drop your jaw a little bit. It's not easy being green. You can really slip into that if you want. But, you kind of just talk like this. A little bit. A little bit.
What am I doing?